Today, we are ranking the worst motorcycle trends of the last decade. Some of these have aged incredibly poorly, and others we are still seeing today, right, Logan?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I probably saw at least half of these on my way into work this morning.
That's pretty crazy. So, we have a bit of a twist for today's video because it's not just two guys doling out their judgments. We are actually going to be confessing as to whether or not we have participated in these trends via our guilty meters over here. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying 8 trends on the board, 8 levels of the guilty meter. I'm hoping to max it out so I can finally stick that Indy 900.
Can't wait to see that. Let's jump in with the first trend. All right, first up on the worst trends, it's one that we're seeing across all bikes all the time, everywhere. I know you guys in the comments love talking about it. It's TFT displays. You know, the big screens we're seeing on all the different motorcycles. Look, I don't know if you've seen KTM's new King Kong ultra widescreen Mandingo-sized TFT display, but I don't really know if I'm digging this new giant screen thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, in regards to the KTM, I tried to check it out, but it was locked behind a paywall. Something about age verification or whatever. But as far as my take on screens, right, it's like a chicken and the egg thing. Do riders need it? Yeah, it makes it a lot easier to navigate some of the settings that, you know, higher end bikes have. But also, is it something manufacturers just do because it's lower cost and maybe add some implied value so they can sell their bikes for a little bit more money?
That is true, yeah. I think a lot of the motorcycles are coming out now, even entry-level bikes, they slap on these TFTs as a symbol of like, you're getting more features and technology and all that sort of thing. But I hear from a lot of riders, they're like, I don't really want all that. I just want something a little simpler, a little easier to use. But again, chicken and the egg, because if your bike has more complicated electronic features, you really don't want to cycle through it like the sub-menus on some sort of synthesizer,
right,
you know? Like, it's got to be a little bit more comprehensive. Now, in terms of the confession, I have many times here on YouTube said that I do prefer TFTs. I think they're easier to read. I think if they're done well, they're pretty cool. So I will increase mine up a little bit. You guys may have noticed I started actually not at 0 because as a YouTuber, I am guilty of something all the time, so I can't be at 0. Have you ever proselytized the good word of TFTs, or have you wanted one?
In my heart of hearts, I don't care about TFTs at all, right? I'm guilty about it, you know, doing a lot of writing and working for the channel. Like, I understand their place and I've discussed that at length before, but personally, I don't care at all about a TFT dash. I'd rather have one ride mode, can't adjust anything, call me an old-fashioned, old-timer, chopped unk, but I'd say I'm not guilty of espousing the merits of TFT on a personal level.
Well, I'm gonna call you a liar because your Trans Alp has a TFT.
Yeah, but I didn't ask for it.
Moving on.
Nothing like the number 7 spot in our ranking to dive into the esoteric. And with that, I mean the trend of the decline of chrome.
I like where your head's at with this. Explain a little bit.
So, the decline of chrome implies the ascension of matte black, right?
Yeah.
And to me, matte black's, it's a little passé. It's not cool. It wasn't really that cool to begin with. It kind of has that try-hard, tough guy thing. And we were talking about it at length earlier. It's like, I don't really know where this came from. Like, who decided matte black was like the cool, edgy thing that every cruiser and scrambler cafe bike is gonna have now?
Yeah, like, why is all black, you know, you can't see the lines of the bike, you can't discern what it is. Like, why is that cool? I think it's cool when you can see the bike and you see its things and you see its parts and everything. And to me, chrome is actually cooler than matte black now. We were talking about your Sportster, where it's cool that it's shiny. It's cool that you have to take care of it, and because you don't see it that much anymore. You know, even stuff like the Hornet 919 had chrome all over it. Old school bikes had chrome, and I think we need to bring back chrome. I think this trend kind of sucks.
Yeah, and again, I'm not trying to get too conspiratorial about it, but it seems like another one of those things where manufacturers are like, okay, if we convince everyone that matte black is cool, think how much money we're gonna save by not having to put, because yeah, chrome is more expensive and it's harder to maintain, but I think we need to culturally move back to a place where we take pride in our things and want something to be special, even if it costs a little bit more, and something you want to take care of and be proud of, and something you see your reflection in when you walk past it in the garage. You know, I think that's a little, it's more romantic than the matte black truck bed liner looking ass motorcycles.
Yeah, it to me, I think correlates well with like the corporatization of logos, the minimalism stuff, you know, like you see a matte black motorcycle, it feels sometimes more modern, but I really don't think it looks very good And we're seeing manufacturers moving away from this trend. Like even Honda is giving us colors now.
Right.
The Hornet's gonna come in different colors. Ducati's released yellow again, which is really fun. So I think we need color, I think we need chrome. I don't like matte black. And I have been happy to say, in terms of the confession, I've never liked matte black bikes. I've never owned a matte black bike. I've never said that that's cool. I don't think, maybe someone's gonna go back in the catalog and say, but I don't think I've ever said it. I've often said the triple black BMWs are lame.
Yeah.
So I think I'm free here. My conscience is clear.
Sure, and I, despite my big tangent I just went on, am guilty to an extent of the matte black thing. My first motorcycle was a vintage Suzuki air-cooled inline 4, whatever, and I did replace some of the chrome parts with black parts. In my defense, they were kind of, you know, pitted and patinaed and old, and I thought matte black is cleaner and modern and nice, but in hindsight, should have stuck with the chrome. So
You're well on your way to your Indy 900. We're very excited
Getting
for
there.
you. You know, Logan, for these videos, you gotta do a layup sometimes. You gotta do something, but you guys might be surprised this one's as low as it is, but we have a reasoning for it, and that is fuzzy helmet covers. Arguably one of the worst things that has happened in motorcycling in the last like 5 years. It's really like TikTok, I think, that made this blow up. I don't remember ever seeing these, you know, in the early days of YouTube. You know, I've been doing this longer than some of you have been born, much, much longer than that. And yeah, in the early days, you didn't do that sort of thing. It really is like the short form content thing.
Yeah.
How does this sit with you?
yeah, I mean, to me, it's silly and kind of goofy and whatever. And yeah, maybe I think I'm too cool to have fun and, you know, be a silly goose sometimes.
I can't imagine you doing
it. It is cringe to me, and I don't like it, and it makes me feel awkward. It's always dirty.
They are dirty.
It's just, it's like costume, like you go to Halloween USA or whatever, it's like, that place makes my skin crawl, right?
Yeah.
Like costumes are icky and gross, and I think fuzzy helmet covers are also icky and gross.
Right.
But
yeah, taking a more, you know, like, I guess, empathetic approach. Like you said, they're just being silly geese. They're having fun. It's okay. It's okay to have fun, let loose. And it's cool if you do it for the kids. You're just having a good time. I will say, I have personally never owned one, never wanted to wear one. I don't think I've ever even thought of using one ever. So my conscience is certainly free and clear from this one. I'm not guilty of this at all.
100%. If anything, I'm guilty of saying incredibly rude things under my breath when I see one. And I shouldn't do that. It's not a good habit to be. I would never say it to someone's face, but saying, if you say it in private, it's still not good. So.
Yeah, in private in front of thousands of people on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm guilty of something, but not guilty of wearing a fuzzy helmet cover.
Yeah, and I've never said that they're good or people should do them, and so I think we're good there. Yeah.
The last thing I'll say, it's the people that wear, it's the Cookie Monster sweatpants to middle school equivalent in motorcycling. That's what I think of, as the Cookie Monster pajamas.
Yeah. Overweight Caucasians in sweatpants at Walmart. That's the vibe.
Exactly.
That's the vibe. To steal your joke, which I did like that joke very much. Moving on.
So this one's probably one of the older trends on our ranking today, and that's LED underglow.
Maybe even back from the time it was before LEDs.
Halogen underglow.
Halogen incandescent light bulb.
I
think they were always LEDs. I don't know, but it's like those old cop cars that had like the incandescent bulb spinning and the reflectors. Anyways, yeah, underglow. Definitely an older trend. I mean, underglow has been a thing since the 90s, I think.
For sure, yeah.
Very, very long. I don't know when it kind of caught on with bikes, but it's almost seen like a resurgence, I feel like. I'm not sure what's going on with the underglow cloud.
Yeah, it's the Y2K resurgence, like across the board, like unironic Jenkos and puffy shoes and things like that. I think the underglow is kind of following that same trend of it was really cool in like the 90s, early 2000s, then kind of lame, and now everyone's like, oh, it's like ironic but cool. I don't really know. I think it's silly.
Yeah, it's definitely a little silly, and I think one of the reasons people say it's like, oh, it's for visibility. And I'm like, well, I don't think you need to go that far for visibility. Like maybe some reflective pieces of gear, maybe color, you know, contrasting pieces of gear always works pretty well. There's a reason most motorcyclists don't have underglow. It's because it does look a little silly. And I have to unfortunately say that I did participate in this trend on two different fronts. Number one, when I was 9 years old and I played Need for Speed Underground, my car had underglow inside of the video game. So I have to admit. But also number two, Logan, I did put underglow on my Hayabusa.
Oh yeah.
I did. It was as a joke, but I did do it. I still did it. So I gotta confess and I gotta go up. I participated in the underglow trend.
Wow.
I don't think you ever did that.
For shame. I did not. No, I'm sticking exactly where.
Wow.
Never in my life.
I'm more guilty and cringe than you right now. That's, yeah.
Content creator.
Content creator, what are you gonna do? Part of the game. Now this next one, Logan, is another older trend, possibly a historical artifact sort of trend.
Okay, sure.
This one I think is interesting because we've moved on in a lot of ways, but they still endure. That is the stretched swing arm.
Oh yeah.
This is, I think, one of the worst trends in motorcycling for so many reasons, especially in the modern age, because the biggest reason people do this is so that the bike doesn't wheelie, right? First of all, skill issue, right? Skill issue. Second of all, every modern bike has wheelie control built in. Most top-end leader bikes have things to control the front wheel or just to let it lift a little bit so that you can get maximum acceleration. There is no reason to stretch your swing arm in 2026 and beyond. And of all the trends I think we're gonna talk about today, this is probably the one I really would like to see just die.
Yeah, I think a cultural artifact is definitely the best way to describe it. Because if you notice too, like beyond, a Grom or something, there aren't really newer bikes with stretched swing arms, at least what I'm seeing. It's always some, 10-year-old, 15-year-old Gixxer or something that's got it. And it's like, that they probably bought that Gixxer in 2007, stretched that swing arm, and then it's seen 6 different owners since, and they always just, and again, I think some people do it for like the aesthetic, it's kind of like the big wheel baggers and things. Like it looks fast. It looks like a drag bike. It looks whatever. So I think it's just, again, comes down to a matter of taste. But unlike the fuzzy helmet covers, I think it's less forgivable.
Yeah. Because it compromises the bike's handling basically completely.
Right.
You can't really turn the bike anymore. And I think unless, you have like a mid-2000s analog leader bike that you have like a 200 shot of NOS in, right? And you're just about that life, which is a very small subset of motorcyclists, there really is no reason to do this. And I'm very happy to say I've never participated in this trend. Not only that, Logan, I had a Turbo Hayabusa that made damn near 300 wheel horsepower. I didn't stretch the swing arm, baby. Analog, no traction control, no ABS on that bad boy. All I did was lower it. That's all I did. And it just hooked up and went like a rocket ship. No stretch, baby.
Yeah, proving the stretch swing arm go boys wrong.
That's right. I know you stretched your Sportster, right?
I've never stretched my Sportster. Never stretched.
You thought about it though. I know you did.
No.
Okay. Well, we almost got him, boys. We almost got him.
No, I'm not looking so good on the guilty meter.
Yeah, I think maybe further on you're gonna get guiltier.
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Moving on. I know some of you have been clamoring to know, Yam, who won the Honda Hornet 750? Well, this is a cool story. Braden in Houston actually won it, and I was able to do a hand delivery to him. Check it out.
Yeah, well, congratulations. I'm really excited for you on this bike. Delivered here in the Houston area. You said you're heading off to the Marines though, right? So you may not keep the bike?
Yeah, maybe not. Probably not.
Okay, probably.
June or July, I'm gonna leave, I believe.
Yeah, well, at least it'll be here in a good home. And well, if you see it come up for sale, maybe you pick it up from Braden over here. But hopefully you get a chance to ride a little bit, have some fun, and big congrats to Braden over here.
So big congrats to Braden on winning the Honda Hornet 750. This Moto Guzzi is up for grabs over on yamini.co. Go and click the link down below and make sure you're entered as a member for your best chance to win.
All right, I maybe spoke too soon about my diminished guilt in today's video. The next trend is retro revival.
Ooh,
so
that's been a big trend.
Yeah, so that's sort of multifaceted. I think, 10 years ago you had the Cafe Racer, Scrambler thing. Built, not bought,
Yes. Oh
that was really big. And then, of course, all the modern retro bikes that kind of came of that era. And then now it's kind of coming back again with Suzuki's 8TT, 8TT, and then the Trident 800, Trident 660, that sort of thing. So there's like a new generation of retro revival bikes. How do they sit with you?
I just feel like we have this thing that is so frustrating to me where like boomer culture has monopolized our society for so long to where I cannot stand seeing another Steve McQueen or Elvis Presley special from Triumph, where I'm like, anyone that cared about this is in the fucking ground. Like, can we all just move on? Why do we think that Scramblers and Cafe Racers are the coolest bikes? They're not. They're so old at this point. You're talking about stuff that happened 70 years ago. Do you think people in the 60s were like, the 1890s, the good old days? They were living in the moment as modern people using their modern vehicles in the way that they wanted to. They were not harkening back to 70 years in the past. Oh my God. So yeah, I have a sore spot with these. And I have to admit, one of the reasons is because I am criminally guilty of this. I owned a Ducati Scrambler Desert Sled, which is probably the most like, you know, nostalgia bait motorcycle you could think of. So I have to increase my guilty meter here for sure, but there's a lot to say about this trend, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in the custom stuff too, it's like for every, you know, well done, kind of professionally or semi-professionally done Cafe Racer Scrambler build from 10 years ago, there was 5,000 terrible eBay, Reddit spec, teenager, chopped exhaust, removing the rear fender and then like not welding the frame loop, and you're like, this is going to fall apart and you will die. I actually have a good friend of mine's younger brother built a Cafe Racer and got a crazy speed wobble and crashed because you can't, you don't mess with geometry like that.
No, you don't.
But all that being said, yeah, my first bike was a 1982 Suzuki, so I'm wearing overalls and mock toe boots. I can't say I haven't been part of the problem, and I own a 21-year-old Sportster, so I'm 100% guilty of this as well.
Yeah, and it's weird how it's like in hindsight, you know, the Cafe Racer thing kicked off, I think in like 07 or 08. Kind of like, honestly, I think Triumph has a lot to do with this, but they did it in the sense that they were re-releasing their Bonnevilles and kind of recapturing that magic. But that was back in like, I think 06 or 07, which at this point now is 20 years ago. And I remember when Ducati in the mid 2000s was doing like the Paul Smart, like retro, like we literally cycle through this retro motorcycle thing every 20 years. Every 20 years, we have to like, we're like, what about the good old days?
Yeah, it's because every 20 years there's some, you know, major like pessimistic outlook for whatever reason, economically, politically, what have you. And then so people, get really like nostalgic for times they never even lived in, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I mean, I honestly, I kind of want to make myself like double guilty of that because like how many like, you know, the mid 2000s were the best videos have we made? I mean, so many, because that's our generation, right?
And because it's true, it was the best.
It was the best. Come on, admit it. Drop a comment down below. Mid 2000s was the best. Leave me a comment down below. Come on. 90s babies, early 90s, goated. Come on, we know it's true.
Epic.
But epic bacon lagoated time. I hated saying that so much. That's a trend that's not aged well.
That just maxed out your guilty meter.
Yeah, I'll increase another half point from there. I started off half cringe, and now I'm even more cringe from that little quip that I just did. But yeah, the retro bikes. What's funny is now it's like the retro bikes aren't even retro anymore. Like the Trident 800, it just has a round headlight. That's all it is. And people are like, it's a neo retro. I'm like, it's literally just a standard bike that looks a little more modern. That's all it is. Like the single round headlight thing, I think it's really played out. And the retro thing is really played out. But again, guilty as charged. Can't deny it. Yeah. Moving on. All right, our penultimate worst trend. I think you guys are probably gonna see where this is going. It's winglets and more, because it's not just winglets now. So winglets started in 2017. Manufacturers put these on homologated superbikes so that they could go racing and have better downforce at ultra high speeds. But then somebody saw the writing on the wall and they're like, oh my God, people will buy these bikes with these crappy little stick-on things like a Civic with a spoiler in the back of it, and they're gonna go gaga for them. And the trends have gotten so much worse. I thought this would die. In the late 2010s, I was like, oh, this is gonna last a few years. It's only gotten worse. We have brake duct rotor cooling fins now. We have CBR 500Rs with winglets. We have naked bikes with winglets. Like, the winglets, they're everywhere. What do you think?
I mean, I think it's people took the bait hook, line, and sinker. You know what I mean? Like, of the illusion of speed, the cosplay stuff, you know. And yeah, winglets are, you know, one of those things where it's like manufacturers know what they're doing. They know speed sells. They're selling the illusion of speed. So all these, you know, young squids can cosplay as their favorite GP or World Superbike racer. But for me, I'm like, yeah, it's the fart can and the spoiler on the Civic, you know? It's like,
definitely.
For those in the know, that CBR 500R is not very fast and does not need those winglets, and it just looks out of place and silly.
Yeah, it's like, it doesn't really serve a functional purpose. Yeah, that's what we mean, or like you put a big wing on a car that's like front wheel drive and has like 200 horsepower or something. Like it's not really a big deal to do that, you know? And yeah, like Logan said, manufacturers know this sells. I think it started like way back in the day with like, you know, carbon fiber farkles and then like, you know, just speed oriented design and all that. And the winglets really are like an ultimate manifestation of this, but it really is getting ridiculous. Like we have active aero on these bikes now. And even the manufacturers will say it's like, oh yeah, it increases downforce at 180 miles an hour by 10%. And you're like, yeah, if you're racing, cool. But like, what are we talking about, you know?
Yeah, like a 500 is not gonna hit that, even if you drop it out of a plane.
It's not. No.
You know?
Yeah, so in terms of guiltiness and this trend, I've been saying this is silly since it came out in 2017. And then people would always tell me, oh, but it's good for racing. And I'm like, okay, fine. Like, I understand the racing element of it, literally homologated superbike racing, not even like club racing. If you have winglets on like your 600 for club racing, that's insane. I don't think you do, but anyways. So I've never participated in this. I've never said they're cool. I've never said that I wanted one. I've never owned a bike with winglets personally. I've given away a few that have winglets just because they have them. There's something I could do about that. I didn't go and remove them or anything.
Winglet delete.
Winglet delete. Yeah, maybe that's the new trend. That's pretty good. Winglet delete.
I'm also not guilty of this at all in any capacity. I'm 10 years too old to fall for this.
I think it's like if my bike comes with winglets, I'm like, all right, I guess. I'm not looking for them though, you know? Like if I were to buy like a brand new top shelf leader bike and it just happens to come with winglets, I'm like, okay, it's got winglets, you know? I'm not gonna delete them or do anything about them because the manufacturer put them on there, but I wish they weren't on there, let's put it that way. So yeah, free and clear, but I am moving up the guilty meter. And I think the last one, Logan, the last one's rough. Let's get into it. All right, so what's the worst motorcycle trend?
So the worst motorcycle trend, talk about an epic hot take. Calling them like we see them. Motovlogging.
Motovlogging. Motovlogging. Motovlogging is the worst trend of the last decade, 2 decades. It's been a long time now. And this was hard for us to make this call.
Yeah.
Because here we sit, motorcycle content creators, someone who literally got their start motovlogging. That was my first type of content that I made. But let's call a spade a spade. Do we really need more motovlogging? Do we need someone telling us about their day while they're commuting back from like the office or something on their bike?
Right.
Do we need that?
Yeah, I think if you go even simpler, vlogging is not.
Yeah,
like vlogging is out, you know what I mean? And I think people realize that sort of parasocial thing is like not really good, and like just being obsessed with the minutia of another person's life for no reason other than they're bold enough to share it with you isn't really like normal.
No.
And then so motovlogging, it doesn't even take it to another degree. It's just that on a motorcycle, you know what I mean? And of course, professionals, people that have been doing this for a long time and are trained on-screen talent, can articulate important, helpful, thoughtful ideas while motovlogging. That obviously has merit. But yeah, they're just like skibbity brain rot, oh my OMG chat, I'm gonna die, voiceover while you're riding your CF Moto serves no value for anyone, and I think it's like not good.
Now I'll take the more like white pilled approach instead of the black pilled approach. So I started watching motovlogs in like 2012, 2013 when I first wanted to get my first motorcycle, and I appreciated it from the perspective of like, I could at least see what it would look like to ride a bike in first person. I thought that was really novel, right? Obviously it's been 12, 13 years since that point, and like, I guess maybe for people who are still getting into it, like it is still novel to be like, what's it gonna look like when I'm on this bike? I think it's an interesting perspective to show it. But yeah, like if you're gonna make that type of content nowadays, I feel like you have to really add a lot of value, add a voice. Like Logan was saying, like the concept of vlogging is almost psychotic when you think about it. Like you're gonna film the minutia of your life and put it up for strangers on the internet. It's pretty crazy. So I think the same thing with motovlogging. You're gonna jump on your bike and talk about the minutia of your life. Like, let's be so for real. Like who really wants to watch that? You know, probably very few people. But there are personality driven content still. People still like certain people who do it. You know, I think motovlogging, it's a double-edged sword. I think it's been great for people who wanted to get started riding, and hey, it's been great for me. I have a career here on YouTube. That's pretty cool. But at the same time, it did proliferate a lot of bad advice for motorcyclists. It muddied the waters of what is good advice, because like at the end of the day, anybody can buy a GoPro, watch a 20-minute video on how to set it up, and then start making content. But I do think it has been one of the worst trends. I have to be honest about that.
Yeah, I think it's just proliferated a lot of bad things, right? Whether it's bad writing, bad advice, bad personalities.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of bad stuff we don't need. Not to say it's all bad, but there's a lot of bad motovlogs out there.
I think it also caused a lot of people, you know, to enter situations in which they may not have. Like there was that guy that ran from the GSP or
yeah.
whatever, and like, you know, I think when you take motovlogging and like this whole idea of like, you know, like I'm gonna be a famous YouTube person to the nth degree, you start making really bad choices. And now is where I must confess, and I must talk about the confession element. And I'm just gonna go ahead and rank myself all the way to the tippy top there, because I am tremendously guilty of this. Not only did I make motovlogs, I watched motovlogs, I made bad decisions on my motorcycle because of internet content, and I lived to tell the tale, and now I'm repenting in front of all of you, trying to make very good motorcycle content that helps people instead of actively harming them. But I will sit atop there and take my shellacking. I'm guilty of this.
Very noble of you to max out your guilty meter.
Thank you, thank you.
I, on the other hand, well, I have motovlogged. I admit I'm bad at it. Riding and talking at the same time. I'm not even that great at talking at the same, I'm not even,
Look at that, it's true.
not even very good at talking, let alone talking and riding.
Yeah.
And I never really liked it that much. So, I mean, I'll still, whatever.
One little notch.
Yeah. Because I have been complicit in the motovlog machine. But it's not my favorite type of motorcycle content. And,
Yeah.
and I'm not good at it. So I have maybe that's why I don't like it.
Maybe. I think it's evolved to the point where it serves a purpose inside of another video. Like I think we've evolved to where motovlogging and like the concept of like microphone and GoPro in a video to serve a larger purpose can be really great.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
We do that in our reviews, right?
Yeah.
Like we'll do the comprehensive shop and stuff, but then like, you know, you still want to ride the bike and see what it's like to ride. And I think that's good, but it can't just be that and you talking about nothing. That's not really great content, you know? But yeah, I think that's the worst trend of all time for motorcycling in the last kind of 10 or 15 years. But let me know what you think down below in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree with our ranking of these trends? Is there another trend we missed? Let us know down below. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Keep watching AME Noob, and I'll catch you in the next one. See you later.